Udeleženci kongresa na začetku slovenskega kadrovskega kongresa 2024, ki sliši na ime seveda Love HR Summit. Sem v dvorano. Naš prvi predavatelj je Rishad Ahmed, priznan govornik, guru vodenja in cenjen svetovalec s 25-letnimi izkušnjami na področju poslovanja in coachinga. In govor, nastop, ki ga je pripravil danes, v njem bo razkril, kako lahko vodje in ekipe razvijajo dinamičen duh v svoji organizaciji, seveda, ki temelji na močni medsebojni povezanosti in skupnem višjem namenu organizacije. Sliši se zelo vznemirljivo in verjamem, da tako tudi bo. Gospe in gospodje, Rishad Ahmed, lepo ga pozdravimo. In 45 minut ste v njegovi družbi.
Thank you very much. Welcome everybody. Everybody had a very big night of partying last night, including myself. How many of you are actually awake and present? Let me see, who was, also all very good people that went to bed early. I was delayed because someone needed to speak, you know who you are. I was thinking I'd get to bed at 11 o'clock because I'm here on the conference, but it was an amazing party, so well done to Love HR, fantastic. I was going to reserve the applause for later for Peter, but as you know, Peter, the organizer of the event, hurt his leg and is not going to be here. But I just want to thank the organizers for all these people, Clara and all the rest of them. They've done a fantastic job. So while you're giving a round of applause, please give them a round of applause. Yeah, fantastic job. So here we are. I can go at the pace of the crowd. So I'm not going to go into slide after slide after slide. I came all the way from a place called Cape Town, South Africa. I don't know how many of you heard of Cape Town. Any hands here? Not that many. Okay, that's good. Normally whenever I go in, especially in the UK, people say, yeah, we know Cape Town. So Cape Town is right on the tip of Africa, the bottom of Africa. And I made a long journey to come here, and how I came here was quite incredible. It was really, really incredible. I wrote a book, and a lady sitting in the front here read the book and said, oh, I love what you're writing about, and we would like to invite you, well, speak to someone of the organizers, Love HR, and they'd love to hear what you have to say about. So for me, in my mind, Slovenia is this very, very foreign place. I said to my wife, oh, I've been invited to go to a conference in Slovenia. They said, where's that? And my kid said, is that near Mexico? I said, no, honey, it's not. So I looked on the map, and I said, there it was. So I've been in Slovenia now for 2 days, and I'm absolutely blown away. You guys are just so lucky. It's such a beautiful country. And yeah. And the weather, I was in London doing conferences there, and oh my God, the wind and the cold, and it was supposed to be spring. I delayed it till April, but it was shocking. It was terrible. So you have a beautiful country, and the other thing that's so amazing about you people is your sense of humor. Oh my God. You guys are hilarious. All I'm just doing is laughing all the time. Very different to the English audience. But the people that I've met, I've made such dear friends they're all around here in such a short time, but you guys have like quite a sarcastic sense of humor, But it's so refreshing because it's actually quite sophisticated. So, and then the other thing that I found amazing about Slovenia is your language. So, I study some Russian and I speak some Russian. So I was on the bus coming here to Portoroz, and I met a lady, and we were talking, and I said, what do you say for good morning? She said, dobre utro, right? And I said, that sounds like I said, that sounds very much like Russian, because in Russian, for good morning, you say dobre utro. She says, do not say that. I said, but dobre utro sounds like the same thing to me. Yes, but it's not. It's very different. So it's very different, and I said, okay, maybe I've made a mistake, it's just one word. And then as we're sitting for dinner, people are saying things like, Отлично, which is in Russian, you say отлично, right? And I'm like, that sounds very similar, right? And then I made sure I never said to any Slovenian that it sounds similar to Russian, but there's many words that I like. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Thank you for coming. So they went on to the second slide, or did I do that? Okay, so let me just get this. Okay, so this is a good place to start. Yeah, here we go. Since you're all half asleep and half awake, I would like us to do something that I've been on a journey with. I'm going to explain to you why we're talking about this. But for now, in order to get us in the right state of mind, so we're not all in our heads, because that's a terrible place to live, as we all know, right? You're sitting there, why am I not good enough? Why didn't I do that? I should be earning more money. Why can't she stop giving me a hard time? It's all head stuff, right? It's just chatter in your head. There's nothing happening that's actually real. So these things were very important to me. Silence. So my first thing I was going to do is to walk on stage and not speak for 1 minute. And I thought that would probably make the Slovenian people a little uncomfortable. Because the only time that we have a moment of silence is when somebody dies. When somebody dies, we have a moment of silence. But we should have a moment of silence for the people that live, because we're not really living, right? In the corporate world, in the company structures, people are not really alive. They're walking around like zombies. Many people, not all of them, but many of them. Because we're afraid of silence. After 5 seconds in a communication and we're having a conversation, and I stand there, and my clients are like, oh, so how's it going? And what did you do last week? And I'm saying, just be quiet. It's not so bad. Not that I have nothing, sometimes I have nothing interesting to say, but most of the time, the silence is awkward. And what we need right now is silence, because you got Instagram, you got Facebook, you got LinkedIn. LinkedIn's okay, because it's just for business. If you see the crap on LinkedIn, it's just they're taking it from Facebook and put it on LinkedIn, and you're thinking LinkedIn is a business platform. I don't know about that. But yeah, so we have a lot of noise, okay? We are now, I don't know if you know, in the attention economy. Anyone heard about the attention economy? Oh, that's good. Some very aware people. So the attention economy is that we've mined 80% of all the world's natural resources. Gold, oil, all the resources. Done. And 85% of all the arable soil, the soil that you can grow stuff on, gone. 85%. So the only commodity left to mine, to extract, is our attention. It is the most valuable commodity. Everything and everyone is fighting for your attention. They want your attention because it's worth money. And then you give it to them, scrolling Instagram, which is fine, I do the same thing. But then what about your children? What about yourself. How much are you giving yourself for that attention? And so that's why stillness is very important. Staring into each other's eyes is against society. If I look at somebody in the eyes longer than 3 seconds, they look away. Try it. Look at each other for a second. Just try the experiment. See if you can maintain eye contact for longer than 3 seconds. See how awkward that feels, and you're forced to smile? You see? You're like, can we stop now? You don't have to. You can stop. Wow, some of you are keeping this on. You probably know each other. But imagine you did that in the boardroom and you sit in and you just go. And people will say, what's wrong with you? But staring into each other's eyes is the only way we're going to get to know each other, right? We're trying to avoid that. We're looking down. In the London Underground, I'm the kind of guy, I'm like, oh, you're interesting. And I do that. And they just all like, and I'm saying, what's wrong? It's like, in Africa, someone walks past, you say, hey, how's it going? Say hello. But over here, it's a lot of avoidance. How is it in Slovenia? Do you guys say hello to someone passing by? Or do you also look down? I'm not talking the company. I'm talking like you're walking on the beach. Someone walks by. Do you say dobre utro? Because that's the only word I know in Slovenian. What? Ah, okay. So that's a long way to go just to say good morning. Yeah, well, I think we should make it a habit of doing that. And nobody listens to their hearts, right? What is this heart thing that we got to listen to? It's all in the mind, right? And that's what this morning's presentation with Anya and Sandy was about, listening to your heart. And so I've done a lot of research, and I teach it, and I practice listening to your heart. And we're going to do a little exercise later on as well, so be tuned for that. When you watch a YouTube video, they say, make sure you watch till the end, because there's going to be something amazing at the end. There is going to be something amazing at the end. I'm going to say goodbye, but it's worth waiting for that. Trusting your intuition. Come on, guys. Nobody trusts themselves anymore. They're sitting asking every expert out there on YouTube and on Facebook how to be in relationship. And then you have a relationship expert. What do they really know? Right? Or, wellness. I mean, that's what people are focused on. That's good. And some of it's good, but, is there any knowledge that you keep from within yourself? Very little bit. And then choosing trust instead of fear. Right? Most of us live in survival mode. Do you know what survival mode is? When you're walking down the street and you think there's a predator chasing you, a lion. Well, you don't have many lions in Slovenia. My friend said to me, you don't have any boys, because I've got 4 girls. They said, boys. I was like, oh, thank God I don't. Any boys? Anyone have boys here? They eat a lot? Yeah, they eat a lot. But they're worth it, right? Especially the moms. The moms are like, yeah, we love him. He's worth it all. Then I went into coaching, and I got to know people, and I loved it. And I started getting deep into people's mindset. First, I crashed, went on a journey, became highly successful, and more depressed and more miserable. Are you going to say something? You can. Oh, no, Tina is one of the speakers. You're allowed to because you were a speaker. Girls are more expensive. Thanks for the good news. And then I started to get knowing, went on my own journey, crashed, almost, I got very depressed, and then I found a coach and I went on my journey. I was very lucky to find the right type of coach, because there's many people calling themselves coaches, but they're not that effective and sometimes destructive. And therapists and things like that. They're very good ones, but they're very bad ones, like anything, like doctors as well. And then I went into speaking as well. So I come from a corporate world. I come from corporate training, spending hours teaching people, spending hours in management. So I don't come from some kind of goofy environment where I was just doing, sitting in an ashram meditating, although that's a beautiful thing to do. I came from the deep trenches of corporations. And I said, something is not right here. And when you're in the corporation, you're blaming yourself. You're saying, why can't I do more? How come she got a promotion? How come he got that? But you're not looking at the environment. And my whole focus is on, we need to change how we think. And so today's thing is about, if we can change how we think and how we view ourselves, we can change the whole environment for everyone. And I think that's really important, that there's nothing wrong with us. And there's nothing wrong with anything, actually, but it's how the whole thing is set up in survival mode, and that's what I want to talk about. So this is some of the issues that we're facing. Burnout. Talking to Željka. Željka is I call her my local business partner, and she said, you think I'm your secretary? I said, well, no, I'm just asking, you know. So, but she's an amazing secretary. She hates being called that. But she was talking about burnout, and people are not listening. She comes from an HR background. You're all in HR. We have an issue. People are burning out. People are exhausted. People are run down. And how are we solving the problem? More courses, more walking on hot coals. I don't know if you've seen that. I had a choice. They had a choice between choosing another speaker and this getaway for the executives, spending 50,000 euros for them to go to, I think, Bali to walk on hot coals. And they went, yay, and they went back to the office. And I'm saying, guys, it was a waste of $50,000, you know. But so, yeah, we got to choose that. So this is a problem, and this is the reason why I'm talking about this. So I hope you find benefit from it, and I hope you find something that's useful for you to take. Mental health crisis, I mean, it's all around. It's not just in corporations, it's our home, our relationships, and all the rest of it. Because we're in survival mode. We're all in survival mode. So I went on this path of understanding, is it my thinking? And then I went into Zen. And I spent a lot of hours meditating, and I understood Zen philosophy, and I loved it. It's so beautiful. Zen is basically the path of no mind. Or they have a concept called Mushin, which is beginner's mind. So you approach everything as if though it's the first time you've ever done something. So it's fresh, it's brand new. You don't come out going, like a lot of people, some lady that I coach who has done a lot of healing, right? I'm doing that because it's not really healing. And every time I say something to her, she says, yes, I know. I know. So yes, you do. Because you got YouTube and Instagram and all the rest of it, but once you know, is there any change? We are in a society now that has more information available on our phones than people did we got the entire encyclopedia of the world. So we should be joyful, happy, thriving, rich, famous, if you want to be famous. But we're finding the opposite. So then I studied all these different teachings with the samurai, amazing stuff, and Bushido as well, which is the arts, and then Ayurveda, and then traditional Chinese medicine. What does this got to do with leadership and corporations? You can't believe how relevant this is. You can't believe how relevant this is. So people will say, well, what is Western medicine, you know, what does medicine have to do with Ayurveda? It's a 5,000-year-old medical practice. And we've got something that's 300 years old, and I'm saying, okay, maybe it's good. But you're ignoring something that was 5,000. So I said, we need to go back to the past, of the wisdom of the past, so that we can learn, because societies have been here before. But people don't want to do that. They want to say, okay, well, let's just look at where we are right now. So we have this thing called myopia. We have short-sightedness. We think that our entire lives and our entire careers has been the span of 300 years. Humans have been on the planet for a long time, right? I'm sure you know that. 200,000 years is what some people say, Homo sapiens. Taoism, again, very rich. And then I explored quantum physics, which I love because my analytical brain loved it. And quantum physics was proving what the Tao was saying, that nothing actually exists in its reality, which led me to write my book, which is, the title of the book is called Mu, which in Japanese means nothing. So people say, what's your book about? I said, nothing. So that it is about nothing, yet it's a lot more to do with that. And then emergence theory and nature. Okay, so let's move through it. So for me, wisdom is crucial. In this time, if we're just looking for facts and figures and left brain rational thinking, we're not going to make it as a planet. I don't know if you know how bad the situation is, rather than the global warming and those types of things. Acidification of the oceans, changing weather patterns. I mean, according to some people, we've got 50 years left on this planet before we run out of resources, which is 85%. And nobody's alarmed that 85% of the soil to produce our food is dead because of the fertilizers and chemicals. I don't want to make this an environmental talk, but it's relevant, guys. We can't be living in silos, and that's, I think, part of the problem. We're like, oh, I'm sorry, it's not part of my job. I'm here to bring coffee for the boss. I don't care what's happening in the planet, but look at the cups that you're using, right? And it's very toxic, so we need to become very much of this holistic. We need to see how the coffee cup is ending up into the ocean and what we can do about it. And if you don't want to, why don't people want to do it? Is it because they're stupid? No, they're in survival mode. If you got a bear chasing you and you got the cup in your hand, I said, do you realize that cup is not recyclable? You say, what do I care? I'm going to get killed by a bear. That's how our brains are. So we got to get out of survival mode first. So this is some of the things. Holistic thinking. I'm not going to holistic thinking. Self-awareness. People are not aware of themselves at all. We're gonna go explore these, linking with your heart. That was this morning, and we're gonna do some of that as well. Intuition, recognizing your limitations. We have this idea that we know everything, and it's the killer of any growth, thinking I know. The response I know means all knowledge is closed. Because you go to someone and they say, oh, I saw the YouTube video on it. No further comment necessary. You know? So it's all in the head. And then experience is important, but not the most important thing. Be aware of your biases. Do you know how many people are not aware of their own bullshit? Excuse me for the language. They don't know their own bullshit. I don't know I'm like full of crap, and I know about my crap, and I'm always going, I've got a lovely wife who always catches me out of my crap, right? She's like, but that's not true. You said this, and so I was like, thank God I'm married, right? Because you never get away with bullshit, right? Which is great if you have a good relationship. And I don't mean that in a sarcastic way. I have someone, she's like a coach to me. She keeps me accountable. How many people keep you accountable to your bullshit? Especially when you say, I can't do it, and I'm not good enough, and I don't think I'm going to make it. Who's there to say, but hold on, didn't you succeed here? Didn't you do this here? And it's not about pointing fingers and putting people out, but it's about encouraging you and say, come on, you can do this. And that's part of also calling out your bullshit, your negativity, right? Acting without fear, we spoke about, and then guided by faith in yourself and humanity. I've had a spiritual teacher for 20 years, and he said, only 2 rules I'll give you in total. Have a high opinion of the universe, and have a high opinion of creation, and you'll never go wrong. Just the 2 things. If you hold on to that, changes your life, because anything that comes up, apply the formula. Someone's bothering you, have a high opinion of them. Actually, compassionately, they didn't mean it. Problem solved, right? I'm having a hard time. Well, I trust in the universe, there's something good happening for me. And that keeps you going. You don't need to spend 16 hours on YouTube buying a special course by motivational speaker X. Just hold on to that. Trust in yourself and trust in life and trust in humanity and people. I love this symbol. I said, why are you having this symbol? And I said, I don't know, it just looks gorgeous. Anyone know what that symbol is? Yin Yang. So that's your 2 polarities and why we are, I believe, where we are right now in this situation of crisis is that we're only on one side, on the you could call it the male side, right, which is dominated by rational thinking, power, survival, taking as much resources as possible without the care. And there was a lovely thing about Mark was speaking after me, shared and said in Rwanda, they have more women on their, in parliament or in the committees because they said if there's more women, the genocide would not happen, would never have happened in the first place. Why? Because women don't by their nature, and I'm not saying, you know, I've met some women that I wouldn't want to walk down a dark alley and meet either, but generally their thinking is like, but come on guys, do we have to go kill everybody? You know, can we just talk about this, right? Something we don't do enough, and so that's the feminine energy. So yoga, I don't know if you know, but yoga was created for men. Who does yoga? Women, right? Who's more flexible, men or women? Women, but who's doing yoga? So the whole thing of yoga and all these things, including the Taoism, was to teach men how to calm down and become more robust. So you could say the feminine energy is the left brain. We have 2 different brains in us, as we know, if you look at the scan. There's the left brain and the right brain. Huge significance. So you could say the right brain's more the creative, the more the holistic, the peripheral vision. They're seeing everything, not just the one thing. And the left brain, which is great for killing a predator or running away from a predator, is the focused vision. But you're missing the entire scene. And in our lives, what we're doing is we're taking the left brain and we're missing the entire scene. The whole movie will be over before you know it, and then you'll be lying there on your deathbed going, why didn't I just do that or do that? And so you got to look at the right brain as well. And that's really important. It's a big thing. This is a huge thing for me. We have to balance it. And you see that line between the 2? There is no separation. It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. There is no separate lines. They converge, which means left and right, right and wrong, good and bad, they converge. But we don't see this whole thing. And so there's a lovely, amazing Eastern philosopher named Nagarjuna. And Nagarjuna, so you know, our logic is based on Aristotle. I'm sure many of you heard Aristotle. Aristotle was very much binary. That's why we have 0 and 1. See, the 0, it's 1. It's either in this box or it's in that box. He's either a bad man or he's a good man. There's no in between. There's no in between. He's either here or there. And it makes sense if you're trying to organize, say, shoes, right? But what happens if he's a good man and maybe he's a bad man? So that's called a dilemma. I'm sure you guys heard the word the dilemma. Two equal propositions that are equally a problem. He came up with this thing called a tetralemma, which is 4 equal propositions. He's a good man, he's a bad man. He's a good man and a bad man. He's neither of them. You see, there's 4. Now, instead of having 2 parts of your brain, you have 4. So imagine you apply that to anything. It's the right decision is the wrong decision. Maybe it's neither of them, or maybe it's both of them. It makes you stop being so certain and insistent that it's the right way, it's the right way. No, you're sitting there going, but maybe we're not. And so and when you challenge people and say, but can we just pause there? No. The research is there, 20 years of experience. Fire them all, right? Wrong approach. So that's really, really powerful. I've got 15 minutes left. Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to move through it pretty quickly. So, holistic, yeah, Jacques said to me, 20 slides. Yeah, good luck, 20 slides. Sorry, Jacques. So that's traditional Chinese medicine, what we were talking about. They incorporate this, and Ayurveda as well. It's incredible. See all those different parts of the body? They're all related. So you can have a point here that's related to your lung. How does that work in modern day thinking? How does the lady or the man in the tea room affect the CEO? No correlation. Oh yes, lots of correlation. If you look at life as meridians interconnected, you can actually get somewhere, but we have this myopic single vision, and we need to change that. And that's the power of Ayurveda. Everything is together. There are no separate parts. So that's wisdom, is seeing the patterns. So you don't have to read any of it. There'll be a presentation. Can you see the patterns that you normally can't see? And that's what I do in my coaching. They'll talk about, oh, my wife's giving me a hard time, and I'll say, well, how's she feeling? That's not the question to ask, how's she feeling? I'm the one that's being given a hard time. But why is she behaving the way that she is? Do we care? We don't care. We just want to solve the problem. But sometimes that's how you solve the problem. Saying, what are you going through? You sit her down and say, okay, so it's not about me then. Actually, it's something else. And you get somewhere. Same thing in the corporate culture, right? So this is very beautiful. When I found this, I was like blown away. So this is called Indra's net of jewels. And it's stunning. See, all these jewels reflect the other jewels. And every jewel, so if this jewel falls down, the whole thing falls down. Every jewel is interconnected endlessly. So something happening here will entirely disrupt something happening there. So can you see how the lowest person in the company, if they are out of alignment, the whole company collapses. This whole web, what we call the company, we call life, you know, that the weakest member in your team, it all just goes down. So, this is so powerful. Just the next slide elaborates a bit more. So, you heard of the butterfly. How many people heard of the butterfly effect? Isn't that powerful? Right? A butterfly flapping in wings in Amazon causes a wind pattern in Mexico. This is true. And that's because we all need science, right? We need to believe. We need to see the rational thinking. We don't ask how they got to the decisions, but we need the proof. Yes, we have a major impact. Small actions and big actions have major impact. And that's, again, if you read James Clear, I'm sure most of you heard of James Clear, Atomic Habits. The 1% rule. 1% improvement will lead to exponential gains. Because we say, waking up every morning at the same time is not really going to do anything. Right? Of course, you're waking up and you're getting to play PlayStation, it's not going to do anything. But if you have a routine, then it's going to have compounded effects. The same way, big things that you do wrong can have little effect. You see, people don't get that. And sometimes small things can have big effects. So it's really opening your brain to look at things differently. So that's really interesting. You look it up. And when I found this is in the Buddhist texts, right? This is Mahayana Buddhism. And I said, these people were light years ahead of where we are. We're so stuck. And I said, imagine we bring this to companies. We bring this to corporations. We bring this to our thinking, to our relationships. Changes everything. Does it make you act with more? People say, but you know what? Since everything's related, I won't be able to do anything. No, the leader gets it all. And then he can or she can make a decision from knowing that they don't know everything. So they can say, I've investigated the facts. right? If we keep on producing, if we can keep on going to Vietnam and paying, to produce this fancy goods that we're selling for $50, for $1, if we continue doing that, profits are great, but there's going to be some impact, right? You can continue to do that if that's what you choose, but you're aware, you're not blinded going into the future. So I think think of any situation you can apply. More robust, it's not more information. It's not more information, because information will confuse you even more, right? So again, in nature, it's all there. Nature is showing these perfect patterns. Nature doesn't work in rigid structures. If we bring this to corporations, we can realize a holistic leader recognizes the importance of diversity, collaboration, and adaptability within their team, right? That's really important. And you never see nature creating squares and perfect, but it's all perfect. I mean, there's the Fibonacci sequences, I'm sure you heard of it, that it's encoded in that one sunflower. I spent 2 hours staring at the sunflower. I was just totally blown away in my Zen practice. It's incredible. I could talk about that, but another presentation, I'll do it 2 hours on my sunflower journey. Stay tuned for that. But it's amazing. It's just perfect. Non-linear thinking. Our brains are quantum machines. Our brains do not go from A to B. You know how you're sitting there and you say, what shall we do about Project X and Team Y? And then you say, I wonder what's for lunch. You see, because where did that come? People say, where did that come from? Because your brain doesn't process linearly. Your brain's all over the place. But most of us they tell you in school, keep focused, stay focused. In fact, you're missing the whole thing. So we live in a quantum universe, because it's been proven, and we need to think quantum. We need to think, and there's a whole video on this, so I won't explore too much, but the quantum universe is showing us how what we thought was one particle here and another particle there, and they were not related, and they put the two particles across a large distance, they turned one particle, and the other one turned instantly before time had passed, right? And then Einstein called this spooky science at a distance, right? He said, what is the spooky science? One particle here. So you're sitting there and you say, something's not right with my child, and then you call them up and how does that happen? And there's Rupert Sheldrake has done a lot of exploration into the morphic field and telepathy, right? And he says the dog knows when the owner's coming home. They know, and they've proven this, right? Because modern day science like, oh, whoa, that's woo-woo. No, I think it's time to bring in a lot more than when you have a bad feeling about someone or a good feeling, you can't ignore that. Agree? Are you guys all awake still? And this was beautiful. When I saw this, the Tokyo network, the Japanese are quite incredible. So they modeled their systems on spores of bacteria, the germs. So the mycelium network is this network of communication of the trees around the earth in the soil. And they said, hey, that's nature's perfect system, right? Because people say, well, yeah, what's the application in the corporate world? And we don't want to hear all this kind of, nature kind of stuff. It should be on a different documentary channel. The Japanese didn't think so. They said, hey, what's the perfect model out there? Nature. It's been doing it for millions of years. We're just trying to figure it out now. So they saw how the spores spread. And they said, let's model our train system. It's the most efficient thing. If you look at a grenade, if you look, whether it's good or bad, it's up to you. But it's modeled on the pine cone. It's that perfect packing. And many other things, perfect packing. That's from nature. And they did really well with this. So there is an application in everything that you do. Everything is relevant to your work and to your life. Communication and radical honesty. This is talking more about, but you can get the presentation later. We need honesty. We need radical honesty. Looking into each other's eyes and saying the thing. In my client's conversation, I'm like, let's cut through the crap. Tell me what's really going on. How many leaders are courageous enough to do that and say, let's cut the crap, guys. Is it really about the money or is it something else? Most of the time it's them that's the problem, and you can't tell them that. This is one I just want to take a second to focus on. The ears, listening. That's why it was shaped. If you put two ears together, it makes the shape of a heart. Strange looking picture, but that's the heart, right? And that's very related. So this is the most valuable thing I got from Zen and from meditation. How to listen and how to be attentive. It was the most powerful thing, because if you're present in your life, you can solve all your problems, okay? So, like I mentioned about, it's the most, and what is so beautiful, this wonderful psychologist, he said, do you know how a child spells love? Like that. attention. That's how a child spells love. They're like, I don't know, I bought her this and I took her to Disneyland and I do this, but she doesn't want to listen to me. Have you ever sat with her and just let her be and just watch her or him? Same with the corporations. Instead of you sitting there talking for hours, sit together and let the person be there. So for me, there's a lot in here. It's one of my most powerful, and that's why the best listeners are children and the elderly. You go talk to your grandma, your grandpa, or someone, they're amazing. You walk out of there, oh, thanks very much. They didn't solve your problem. They came in with what they call no mind in Japanese. They came in without saying, this is what you should do. Most people are like, oh, you're in a bad relationship, leave him. Yeah, I've been there before, right? And that's what you do, and it's not the right approach. So be there for people unconditionally. And so this is really important. The traditional doctors back in the days believed your pulse had everything. You felt the pulse, and you could tell everything about a person. So, I don't know how many of you have experienced the traditional doctors, but they do this. So in the old days, I read of the founding father of modern day medicine. He used to put layers of paper on his hand, and they used to get birds to peck on those layers of paper and to see if he can feel it, the pecking of the birds through there, so that his pulse would be so in tune. We're so disconnected with our thoughts and our feelings, we can't feel anything. And the whole point is to become super sensitive to life, to people, to our work environment. So listen to everything. And according to one scientist, that we listen through our skin. Our skin is where the sound permeates from. So be very present with that. Right, the ethical, we talk about that. Self-awareness and knowing your bias is really important as well. Linking with your heart. Okay, so the heart is not just a pump that pumps blood. Okay, it is that, but it's so much more to that. And Anya, if you missed it this morning, the recording will be on there. She spoke with Sandy at length about this topic, but using your heart and using your intuition. So I'm going to do that now, listening with your heart. So here we go. What I want you to do is think about two things that you're trying to decide on. Should I do A or B? And you just can't decide what way you should go. What I'd like you to do is to first put option A into your heart and just allow it to sit and see what arises. So what does that mean? You need to be sensitive. Now a lot of men, they're like, I don't feel anything. Well, you don't feel anything ever, I didn't feel anything all my life. So if you don't feel anything, that's also perfectly fine. It takes time. And I'm not just saying just men. So put that in your heart and feel deep inside of you, okay? We're going to do this for 1 minute, but this exercise you can do at home for 5 or 7 minutes, okay? So first step is take your left hand, place it in the middle of your chest, where your heart's located, right hand, and you can close your eyes. And now breathe in through your heart and breathe out through your heart. So you're just imagining the breath coming in through your heart and going out through your heart. Breathe in through your nose, imagining the breath coming in through your heart. Hold that energy in your heart and breathe out through your mouth, imagining the energy going out through your heart. And settle everything down. Become really still inside, really sensitive to everything going on inside of you. Look into your belly, look into your body, look into your heart, and ask just one question, that one thing that you've been wanting to do for so long. Ask yourself, should I do it? Now, instead of listening to your head, which is going to come up with a whole lot of answers, listen to your body and stay tuned and see if you feel anything in your body. So you're just looking for a feeling. Scan your body from the tips of your toes to the top of your head and see if you can feel anything. And this would be a great exercise to get in touch with your body. And ask, does it feel good? Does it feel right, this thing that I want to do? Without the mind. And now, look for a word that pops up. Any word that may pop up. And if it comes from the mind, ignore it. Try that. Just look for a word. And it's the first word that pops out without you thinking. When you got that word, hold on to that word. And now you can open your eyes. And I take this heart energy and wipe my face with it. Put it over my face, and because it's very nice, that energy that we created there. Did anybody have a word that stuck with them? Yeah? Yes? Okay. Excited? Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else want to share what their word is? Justice. Who said that? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you got some work to do there. But you get your justice. Okay, so you saw the movie Dune. I'm sure everybody's seen the movie. It was a big thing. In Dune, they talk about the irresponsible use of technology that led to the demise of the planet. AI is great, and I can't cover too much of it. Use AI. Don't let it use you. What they found from AI, from the movie Dune, is that, by the way, we started quite late, so you're going to have to give me 5 more. Can I have 5 more minutes, guys? Yeah. Well, I just wanted this. I'm so excited about telling you this stuff. I'm like, come on, guys. You know? So in the movie Dune, you notice how they're all about intuition. Technology is not used there. Even the computers, they got one guy there who's doing all the calculations. How far should we go? And he says, 360,000, whatever. They mastered the internal technology. We don't use human technology. Like, we're humans with all this inbuilt technology. We're like, oh, iPhone. Look what you got. Empathy. Have you ever seen a computer with empathy? But you have this. Emotions. You hurt. It's beautiful. It means you're alive. Everybody's like, well, why can't I just be happy all the time? You'd be dead. You'd be a machine. Right? Pain makes you alive. Okay? And so does joy. Wisdom. I typed into ChatGPT, could you tell me what line 3 of the Tao Te Ching, which is sacred text? And they said, could you tell me what the wisdom is? They can't. What is your interpretation of wisdom? It's so personal, right? And it's not knocking AI, because we got no choice, right? Because the most in-demand speakers right now are AI speakers. Everyone's talking about AI. Jump on the AI bandwagon. I'm like, no, I like AI, but I like people more. So my focus is people in technology. Someone needs to save the people. Everyone's rolling out. Let's get rid of all these people, these useless pieces of things. We can displace them. We just bring in all the computers, So, not a good idea. Intuition. Notice something interesting. Intelligence, instinct, intuition starts with the word in. Where is it? In here. So why are we asking everybody in the world what to do when we know intrinsically what is good and what is right? And the only way you can do that is to listen to your heart. So the Dune is a lovely example of we are using technology as adolescents, as children do. Even the grown-ups. They're like, look at this, shiny. We can make all our reports in one day. We can get rid of 200 people and increase our profits by 2,000%. That's the wrong way to think about it, right? So it's adolescent usage, because we're humans and we have a planet as well. And human intelligence is an entire topic that I can explore. It's got nothing to do with machine intelligence. Machine intelligence, what machines do is one aspect of human intelligence. One small aspect. Yet we've made, why? Because the only part we use of our brains is our rational thinking. It's a good idea, bad idea. So take a job, not take a job. Fire him, hire him. But we don't actually explore human intelligence. It's so vast. So I'd love to explore that at some point. I'm going to cover this last slide about the different types of vision. And it's really important. This is related to left brain, right brain. So you take a photo there. The left brain, the foveal vision, is looking at one point. Now, if you look at any point, look at the screen, but instead of your eyes being there, it's in the same place. You're encompassing everything around you. So look at me, and you're looking at everything around me. That's engaging your subconscious peripheral vision. So there's foveal vision. There, I'm pointing at the target. And when you go into peripheral vision, you're activating your subconscious. And your subconscious takes in billions of instructions more than your conscious mind. Your conscious mind can only do one step. But what's happening in my unconscious is millions. I mean, they're still trying to get a robot to walk like a human. And we think that's great achievement. We don't realize this technology, how we're just doing this. Have you seen cats and they put marbles on the floor? Have you seen the cat? Come on, you guys seen the cat videos, right? They throw all these marbles on the floor and the cat's just like, and it doesn't step on any marbles. And they're like, how, what? How is it doing that? Intelligence. We forget about our own technology. We're too busy buying new technologies. That's really powerful. If you haven't seen that before, explore that, the two types of thinking. And how many people in this picture can notice what's not noticeable in this picture? What's the answer? Just give me one answer, and it's all wrong anyway, but go ahead. I'm very encouraging, by the way. You're wrong, but go ahead. Anyone want to try now? That's how corporate meetings happen. See who's going to say the stupidest thing so we can all laugh at them. The canvas that the painting was on. Because if there was no canvas, there was no painting. And that's when you realize when you hear music, you're like, what kind of music is it? Have you heard the silence? Because the silence is what creates the beat. If there was no silence, there would be one continuous sound. But we're all focused on the painting. We're all focused on the problem, and we don't see how we're creating the problem. If you learn, this is what the Zen masters and the Taoist masters, see the opposite. Not what everybody else is seeing. And in creativity, leadership, I mean, I walk into a meeting, I saved a client $24 million. We're going to explore that topic, but we'll do another time. Just simply from observing what others were missing. And he flew me over, I'll just say quickly, and he flew me over and he said, Rishad, just be a fly on the wall. In a good way, it means that. Just observe. And I observed, and he said, deal's good, paper's good, everything's good. And he said, what do you think? And I said, I don't like this deal. And he said, Rishad, don't make problems when there aren't any problems. Give me some proof. And I said, I don't have a proof. But what he's saying and how he's saying it doesn't align with me. Something in his being that I pick up intuitively. And it's not just a woman's intuition, because women generally have bad feelings a lot. But, yeah, I mean, men are pigs, so I don't blame them. Sorry, guys. See, you can say men are pigs. Not all, because some people like pigs. But I got 0 on here. So notice the background. Notice the background of your life as you sit there going, oh, I'm not getting a raise, my life is shit. Portoroz, what a place. Have you noticed it? That's gorgeous. So is the planet, and so are human beings. I can't even get into this. So the main takeaways. Yeah, well, just quickly. This is how much we know about our lives. The matter that we know of all the stars and galaxies accounts for 5% of the content of the universe. Only 2% of our DNA is known. The scientists call the rest, 98%, junk DNA. Anything scientists don't know, they either call it dark, junk, or some other kind of name, so you just think, no, that's not important. What happens if the 98% of the DNA is controlling epigenetics? How we're going to live? And less than 2% is predicting because that's when you go to the doctor, tell me, did your father have this, did your mother? Maybe it's not about that. Sorry, I apologize, I'm done. So this is some of the things to remember. Holistic thinking, intuition, self-awareness, deep present awareness, active listening, using nature as our guide, all relevant to your work environment. And if you can scan that barcode, that's my LinkedIn. And my newsletter is called Enlightened Leadership. There's 23,000 subscribers, and you can join that. It's free for today if you sign up. No, I'm joking. It's always free. So sign up and scan that. So guys, you guys have been amazing. I love Slovenia. I'd love to come back here. Thank you so much for your attention, your precious attention. Thank you. Thank you. We don't have time for questions, right?
Sorry?
Do we have time for questions, or we need to move to the next one? Because I took up too much time.
Actually, we have to move to the
on.
next one. But
If you've got
anyway,
questions,
at 11, at 11, you will be guest in the meet and greet corner, right?
Right.
And if anyone
I
have
am
a
now.
question, then you can ask Mr. Rashid directly. Yeah?
Yeah, thank you.
It's okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Guys, thank you.
Hvala lepa.
Thank you.
Torej, za vsa morebitna vprašanja ob 11. uri v kotičku za mreženje, tam od zunaj bo gospod Rishad spet na voljo, lahko ga boste vprašali, kar želite, kar je morda ostalo nepovedano ali neodgovorjeno. Takole, zdajle pa potujemo naprej, na oder bom povabil.